I feel that the UFC has spoiled us this year with amazing matchups. Fight after fight, fight card after fight card, they've all been amazing. Dana White saying that the matchmakers are doing a fantastic job almost feels like an understatement. Some of the most memorable fights this year for me were Justin versus Chandler, Kamaru Usman versus Colby Covington 2, Corey Sandhagen versus Petr Yan, and many more. I can rant on many more fights that have been absolute bangers this year. Each year, the sport continues to excite me more and more as a fan, but going into the new year, there are definitely some fights that need to be made. So let's get into the top 5 UFC fights that need to happen in 2022. Now, I'm not going to discuss on behalf of obvious matchups like Petr Yan and Aljamain Sterling or Brandon Moreno and Davison Figueiredo, fights that are already a certainty. This is a list of fights that haven't been made certain yet or that weren't at the time of making this video. Number 1, Kamaru Usman versus Leon Edwards. Look, man, this is definitely the fight to make at 170 for the championship. I've seen a bunch of memes and funny videos recently on Leon asking for the title shot. I must admit that they're funny, however, I think Leon does have a point. Besides his no contest decision against Belal Muhammad, which I had him decisively winning, he does have like 9 wins in a row. One of those wins against another high-ranking contender in Vicente Luque. Obviously, Colby just lost to Usman, so I don't want to see that fight again until Colby wins his next fight. Leon has a win over Vicente like I just said, and Gilbert already fought for the title and should fight one more fight. His last fight was against an aging wonder boy who couldn't defend a single takedown, and Belal pretty much did the same thing to him too. I think Belal and Gilbert should fight it out if I'm being honest. There's a nice styles matchup there too. Edwards has the best claim to fight Usman, which if I'm a betting man, I got Usman. At number 2, Rafael Fiziev versus Dan Hooker. Boy, I love me some 155 division fights, but damn how fun will this fight be if we get it. Currently, Dan Hooker has been in a bit of a teeter-totter streak recently. He beats Paul Felder in a split decision win to cap off a 3-fight winning streak, loses to Dustin via unanimous decision in an absolute 5-round display of pure back and forth violence, gets KO'd by Michael Chandler in a round, beats a nasty savage in Nasrat Haqparast, and then gets obliterated by Islam Makhachev in the first round during their fight. It's time for him to defend his spot in the rankings, and he should definitely face off against Rafael Fiziev, who currently just beat Dan's teammate Brad Riddell. 2 stand-up fighters fighting in a 3 or even a 5-round bout would be my wet dream. Rafael fights so nasty. Everything he throws is with the intent to really hurt his opponent. His kicks are evil, dude. This dude is just an evil fighter, which is a major compliment for me. Rafael is a real problem for just about anyone in this division, and Dan Hooker is the perfect matchup to test this man. If there is a flaw in Fiziev's game, I would point out his gas tank. Against Bobby Green, he was doing very well, but he lost his defensive discipline and looked to be getting tagged in the 3rd. But other than that, dude looked real smooth during his fight. At number 3, I have Kai Kara-France against Askar Askarov. With the Mexican king of the flyweights, Brandon Moreno, fighting Davison Figueiredo in January, contenders must start taking each other out for the next spot up. Bring in Kai Kara-France and Askar Askarov. Askarov is on a 3-fight winning streak after his draw with the current king. Kai Kara-France is 3 in his last 4 fights. His most recent loss to Brandon Royval, who is on a 2-fight losing skid as of now. This fight just makes sense for the division. I'm not a fan of people sitting around and waiting for the title shot, so as a fan, I think this fight is important. Kara-France's explosive striking style will be a tough matchup for Askarov's wrestling heavy style. If Askarov uses his jab, he can maintain some distance against Kai, but man, this fight is a must for the division and it's super exciting. Anything can happen. At number 4, we have Corey Sandhagen versus Merab Dvalishvili. Since it's almost a given that Jose Aldo will fight TJ Dillashaw for the number 1 spot, while Aljo and Petr Yan battle it out for gold, I would really like to see Corey Sandhagen versus Merab Dvalishvili. Corey is coming off of 2 losses, one to TJ Dillashaw and one to Petr Yan. His fight with TJ was a 5-round tactical war, with Dillashaw just barely edging out a split decision. You really could have given that fight, any which way you wanted, Corey or Dillashaw. His loss to Petr Yan was competitive, albeit decisive. It was clear that Petr Yan just edged him out. His style of rangy combat and efficient striking will contrast nicely against a fighter like Merab Dvalishvili, who will push forward and apply heavy pressure with a wrestling style. He has enjoyed a 7-fight win streak since his loss to Ricky Simon in his second UFC fight. I would like to see the winner of this bout fight the loser of Aldo and Dillashaw to move up in the rankings. And at number 5, we have Conor McGregor versus Tony Ferguson. I can't express how badly I want to see these two animals face off. We've been waiting for this fight for years. Both have had very tough results in their recent fights. Conor has won only one in his last 4 bouts. That win only coming against a Donald Cerrone that was way past his prime at the time and had no business being in the ring. I see Conor's decline as a result from both ring rust and lack of evolution to the current MMA game. We see this in his Dustin Poirier fights. He could not check a single damn leg kick, and he doesn't do too well in clinch or ground situations. Leg kicks become a real problem for a fighter that fights very heavy on his lead foot, which Conor most certainly does. Ferguson himself is on quite a setback skid himself. He has lost 3 consecutive fights, albeit against 3 world-class fighters. I don't think it's an age issue with Tony. Gaethje was unstoppable during their bout. The dude just kept going forward. Charles Oliveira is the best lightweight in the world and has shown that in his most recent bouts, who outclassed Tony everywhere. And Dariush just floored him for the entire fight, not leaving anything to chance, not risking a knockout for the sake of spectacle. Seeing 2 fighters that are from the last generation of greats, but that are still capable of putting on a show would be quite the fight. Both guys would hopefully keep the fight on the feet, although Tony can mix it up with his jiu-jitsu here and there. This fight hopefully goes a distance, although I'm not opposed to a knockout or submission. I think that we all need closure as fans to see this fight happen through and through. Dana, please make this one happen. Alright guys, these are the top 5 fights that I would love the UFC to make in 2022. What do you guys think? Am I missing a matchup that would be an absolute must-see? Leave it in the comments. Do me a favor and help out the channel by leaving a like on the video and hit the subscribe button while you're here. Thanks for watching, everybody. It's Jazz from In the Mind of Jazz, and I will see you guys in the next one.